should we wait for someone to say something funny, or should I just start this?
Oh God, this sucks. Let's get it over with.
Welcome everyone to Star. Oh, good attempt, Frank. Star Trek, our continuing journey through, well, as many Star Trek episodes as we can, and we are on to certainly a episode of Star Trek that happened during the 60s. This is Charlie X.
Can we watch Code of Honor to get the taste out of my mouth?
We have kind of, because we're doing like these early episodes, it's a lot of really bad stuff all at once, and it's kind of dehumanizing. But yeah,
I swear I just went through hazing being the new guy. It's like, hey, fuck you, buddy. Watch this.
We're saving all the good ones for you.
Oh dear. So yeah, believe it or not, this is a DC Fontana episode, and yeah, everyone has their bad moments. The fun fact, the glorious part of this was directed, and I love this fact, this is my favourite fact about this episode. This is directed by Lawrence Dobkin, who, who's that? He would direct this episode and then go on to play Ambassador Kell in the TNG episode Mind's Eye. So it actually transferred from being director to a TNG star, which I think is a really cool thing. I think that's cool that he sort of went and did that. That's nice. That's probably...
So they retained him after this, is what you're saying.
Yes.
The term director and star are used so loosely.
And Frank, your camera's frozen up at exactly the right pose, which is probably the best image of this episode. Would you like to know the original story outline was called Charlie as God? And originally NBC didn't like this episode because it featured a lot of teenage melodrama. But considering this episode had literally no VFX to it, it was like 2 sets. They just went, oh, yeah, it's cheap. Yeah, you can air it. Fine, let's do this. Yeah, where do we start with this?
So when we do the recording or the ratings at the end of the episode, how many whatever out of whatever, which one of us is going to have to pull a rabbit out of their head on this one. My benchmark is, did I enjoy watching it? This is so far in the opposite direction. I felt bad. My stomach felt bad watching it. I'm like, when will this be over? I don't know, man. You're the host. This is why you get the big bucks. So
I can't. Like, this is like this, parts of my brain are like, okay, you got to accept the time and the place. This is the 60s, and 60s teenagers are a relatively newish phenomenon from the 50s, 50s and 60s, Greece, and the whole free love, hippie society and all that. Teenagers have sort of become thing, but then make it. I can't. We're so used to it in our modern sort of setting that anyone trying to deal with a teenager with superhuman strength just kind of sends me into panic attacks. I'm just envisioning my children having ultimate power, and I'm just like, oh no, that's not what I want at all. I can appreciate the crew wanting to tread lightly over this and try and go over, but there are so many parts of this that are just like, did you have to have all the stuff where he basically turns a woman into a lizard and also just gets these random pictures of Janice Rand out of nowhere, because that's totally normal. You
can have bad episodes or weird episodes or product of the time episodes, but usually somewhere in there's some kind of point. There's like a first contact, or they introduce a new character. There's no point to this episode. It's a weird, awkward, horny teenager comes, hits on a woman, starts killing people, and then gets taken away by his parents at the end.
Yeah, it's the Squire of Gothos, but done badly. Because the Squire of Gothos at least is fun. It's a fun episode to watch.
It's a great episode.
Yeah, I love
it. It's the same thing except without all the creepiness. Like, he still tries to hit on the ladies, but in like a semi-acceptable way. Like
being a civil gentleman, isn't he? Gothos is, Trelane is trying to be much more the kind of like, I am here. This is my interpretation of humanity as seen through the lens of stuff he's actually have seen. But Charlie and Kat, will you stop threatening to tread on my power button? Get the fuck out of there. Thank you. Sorry, that was nearly a shutdown moment. Yeah, but at least Trelane was like he'd actually viewed humanity as Charlie X as kind of just in a girl and just going like, girls, I want girls, and the writer thought that was fine.
Bring me your women.
Bring me more women, and just got the point where he takes over the ship, and this is all to do. It's all a power struggle. And I feel like usually that is in service...
a struggle, all right.
Well, it's usually in service of Kirk proving his superiority, or his humanity. He usually has a big speech about how, this is the enlightened viewpoint, this is how we do things, or this is, risk is our business, or all that kind of stuff. But there was none of that here. There's more like Kirk being shit scared until until Charlie's parents turned up and saved the day. He tried to take the high ground, but there was really nothing he could do.
Shatner was actually the only redeemable part of this episode. So, Frank, are you with us?
I am. Charlie tried to blip me out there for a while.
So I rolled the eyes back into my head, and that just happened.
Like, again, I was talking to Otto earlier that I'm trying to give credit or leeway because it's the second ever episode from 56 years ago. So they and then I step back out of the bubble and I go, God, this series is still going 56 years later after that? That's impressive.
We said the same thing after The Naked Now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they didn't cancel it. You can see where, take the horrendous episode aside, you can see where there's little glimmers of here's the future of the next several years on the show, where here's where our key crew is, and here's what they're going to be doing, and here's Spock oddly showing some emotion. Yes. And here's Nichelle Nichols showing off her talent and singing, and here's some interplay and some good stuff with the crew. But then here's a teenager that can just, wipe people away, kill people, turn people into lizards, slap people on asses, do whatever he wants. And we're cool. We're just like, okay, well, hey, stay out of trouble, mister. You should really stop doing this. You're starting to push the line here, sir. That's, at some point you just vaporize the guy, I think, beam him into space. I'd find the nearest Klingons and send them over there. I don't know.
So to let you know what your $4.99 Twitch subscription buys, when we're watching this episode, at the beginning, Nichelle is singing, and Idol goes, I'm kind of liking it. This is a nice little slice of life episode. And then a couple minutes later goes, yeah, they maybe could have rehabilitated this as a love story. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
just wait.
I feel like there is possibly, if maybe, and I said at the time, if they'd put Charlie X and maybe 10 years older and not as immature, and there's plenty of stories of aliens coming to Earth and finding love in an alien paradise, and I feel like that maybe could have the angle, but that's not the way they turned it. I feel it's yeah.
He was a card shark who melts chess pieces. Tries to get one lady. He was offered many. Ran just through this other lady, just sacrificial lamb.
Bro,
here.
That was brutal.
And he's like, nope, no ass for me to slap there. Just yours. 1960s, folks.
I can't even say you're being crude because that's literally what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah, this is not me being me. This is me encountering
filter with this. This is exactly what happened in the episode. You can't even say you're just taking this on the wrong context. No, there is no wrong context. This is exactly what happened. This is Gene Roddenberry, fully unfiltered.
So, yeah, and I guess I'm jumping ahead to the best part of the episode. The only redeeming part of this episode for me was Shatner's acting.
Yeah.
Like when they realize he can blink people out of existence, he actually looks proper terrified of this 17-year-old boy. And there's other parts where he's sympathetic or this or that, and he's actually doing subtlety well, which I know no one thinks of when they think of William Shatner, but he did
has his
well. He
moments.
looked great
He
in the
has his
red
moments.
pants. So, yeah. But every choice they made, from making Spock recite poetry to like turning a woman into a lizard as a show of strength, like every writing choice they made was just astounding and baffling.
It's the 60s, man. Like, I think that's the only way you can say it. Like, this is... There have been better episodes, but considering, like, I think...
Oh, there have? You sure?
Yeah, no, but...
It's a low bar, man.
No,
That lizard could cross that bar.
I mean, well, until he gets to threshold. But I think, like of this era, there was a thing I read that, like, they wanted to push this later into the season. But one of the things they said was like, okay, yeah, this is a bottle episode, but also they were like, well, we need a colourful episode. We need to push colour TVs out there, so let's add a load of colour to this, and we need to get the kind of I don't know, like this is. I am literally lost for what. Yeah, and the harsh color, the harsh lights on the eyes between Kirk and think. I'm all over the place in this episode. It is.
So were they.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's thrown us for the bet. Let's jump on because
hold on. They even had that awful moment from Code of Honor where it's like, Janice, you tricked me. Where it's like, don't you want to date Charlie or whatever? I'm actively trying to block it from my memory, but we mentioned it in the watch along where it was a close parallel. So I'm sorry, I should have let you move on.
No, please, let's. I mean, there was so more fun facts. Let's do some fun facts because we need to make something redeemable and happy for everyone to listen to because they don't want to hear us just gasp and moan for the next however long. No Scotty or Sulu in this episode. No, they're on their breaks. They're filming other things or just not available, considering how important James Doohan would be for the franchise. Like, it was, surprising. And Charlie's... Go on.
If you haven't seen George Takei's episode of Twilight Zone, it's a pretty good one. So go watch it. He shows off more acting chops in there than he was allowed.
Was that why he wasn't on this episode? He was filming that. Was that the same time? No, Twilight Zone was earlier, wasn't it? No, I think Twilight Zone was like late 50s, early 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it was good.
Charlie's actor, Robert Walker, he's actually quite the accomplished actor, and I think there's a few stories about him being very method actor for this. Like, he segregated himself from the cast to try and give himself the appearance of not being normal or not being sort of very sociable with them, and that kind of pays off. You do kind of see that a little bit. He's very sort of he does the role well. Like, for what he was given, I feel like Robert Walker's acting was not a question here. Aside maybe he could have objected to doing the eye roll. He said, "Well, can I not wave my hands instead? Maybe I can do some things with a wand. Wouldn't that be better?"
There are stories like this where you can tell the actor's trying to be creepy, and it sort of takes you out of it. You're like, "All right, I'm watching TV," but this. I'm not going to say I was totally immersed in this, but yeah, it was a natural awkwardness, I think.
He felt like, oh my god, that is the first woman I've ever seen. Like, oh my god, like I need to be with Janice right now. He's probably sat in a cave for like 20 years, and he's like come out and just like, oh my god, a woman. There's a woman on this ship. But I feel like they could have done the data where I was like, what is the difference between a man and a woman? Well, Charlie, let me tell you that.
No, I don't want to hear 1967. Shatner explained to me the differences between a man and a woman.
Yeah, well, you're gonna for the next 3 seasons, so except physically. But he's actually been acting for quite a while. His latest acting credit was 2018. I think it's been quite a few big productions, so kudos to Robert Walker. I've got no faults with the guy himself. I'm glad he sort of found a good way out of this terrible episode, which I don't know what it was. I don't know how it was received at the time, but I assume it's hard for us not being born of that generation. We'd have to speak to our fathers about that point. Like, what did you think of Charlie X at the time? I had to get my dad on this. He used to watch it back on there.
Interestingly, he stopped acting in 2018 because he died.
That would do it. I didn't actually look at the death day. But at least
It's still his most recent role, though.
Yeah, but
Yes,
no,
that is
at least,
correct.
you know, he's carried on till his last day, so that's very cool. I mean, that's more than any actor could wish for, really, isn't it? So, you know, kudos to him.
He tried. The writing, he was doing his best in spite of the writing, and you could tell he was trying to give effort. So he does get a point for that.
So it's at least
There
a
were
one.
points where I was just... 0.5. There were points where I was just listening to the dialogue, and it was actually worse than the episode I was watching. I thought, the actors, and the lighting and the music is actually elevating this dialogue.
Right. Dare I
And
say
I think
it?
we joked, but the actual script, if you could get a copy of the shooting script, it was probably very thin because there was a lot of acting with the eyes and not so much the words. And the words were, Charlie, don't make me angry.
Words
don't
come
wanna do
later.
it."
You must let her see the fire in your eyes.
The fire in your upper eyes or lower eyes as well, yeah. All right, dare I say it? Best or worst moments? I'm going to be cruel. I'm going to be really horrible to you guys now. Let's go best moments. And Frank, best
Okay.
moment.
Don't steal mine.
Oh boy.
I already called it out when we were watching it, so don't steal it, please.
Then I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to say that I really rather enjoyed getting to see the end credits. No. There was really good acting from Leonard Nimoy,
Okay.
who got to emote. Say what you will about Spock not having emotion, but you got to see a lot out of Spock that if you've seen The Cage, subs will go click the button and you can watch the guy's reactions to The Cage. Different Spock there than this one, and this one he's a little bit more Spock, and great interplay with McCoy.
Yes. Actually, yeah, that was good.
I enjoyed those little moments.
Auto.
That's enough. You've done your duty, Frank. Yeah, when Charlie's going on his evil metamorphosis bender and turning people into whatever, when you see the silhouette, it's nicely shot too, the silhouette of the people laughing around the corner of the corridor, and then he does his little thing, and a woman comes out wearing nylon stocking over her head. Someone with no face has essentially removed her entire
was
face
horrific.
because...
That was horrible.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Very Twilight Zone-esque, very creepy, and that might be the height of the discomfort level in the episode, which is
Like a good
significant.
discomfort. They're like, oh, this is genuine.
Yeah.
I'm horrified. This feels like that was done well. I'm horrified. Yeah.
It was a nice break to feel discomfort for a reason they intended.
Yes, not just like, ugh, not just and this is yeah. I enjoyed the Uhura song. I enjoyed her and Spock playing off each other. I enjoyed that kind of little interplay. Spock smiling was a bit odd, but then not intended, if you know what I'm trying to say. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But no, I enjoyed that moment of them sort of singing together, and then her little playful poke at Charlie and sort of seeing things like, boy from another spaceship. I like that. And again, what we said earlier about slice of life stuff, I liked seeing, for episode 3, I enjoyed seeing the crew just relaxing on the bridge, and the same when they were talking about Charlie for the first time, Spock, McCoy, they're just casually sort of sitting on the bridge mid-shift chatting about this new arrival. I kind of liked that moment of it that you don't really see much in TOS. It's usually just all business, so I quite like that. Okay, Frank, how about take a pick, your worst moment.
Boy, howdy. I've got to go with just Charles Evans being Charles Xavier Evans being a really poor sport and a bad loser at multi-dimensional chess and melting the chess pieces to where no one else can enjoy the game now. He's ruined that game in the lounge for everyone else in the crew, and that's just really rude because I don't know how many spare chess pieces they have laying around. God knows they
No replicator.
can't stop at a star base, no replicator. So I think that's a dick move from a teenager, ruining everyone else's fun. And that's just in poor form and poor taste. Really took me out of the episode.
Auto.
I'm just going to say the overarching pointlessness of the episode. Usually there's some kind of redeeming, okay, at least we went from A to B, even if the journey was rocky. There was no B. Like there was no, they didn't end up anywhere. Nothing wrapped a bow on the end. It was just a terrible story in space, in a vacuum, and then it was over.
I'm surprised you guys are giving me this. The whole judoka scene, like the whole, let's just do some random kung fu. Like, why?
I'm exercising.
Yes, the guy exercising against the wall, and like them just falling over and throwing each other. Like, what really was the point other than just to show Shatner's out of his girdle is actually, you know, well built if he breathes in and emotes through his chest. Yeah, but I kind of agree that, yeah, this is an ultimately pointless episode. I think the Squire of Gothos does it better. Like, that is the evolution of this episode that sort of does it a lot more eloquently without being as eloquent. Okay. We don't have stars, so go on.
Eloquently speaking, we're all going to have different ones. I'll ask you, you ask Otto, Otto ask me. How many turkey-shaped meatloafs for Thanksgiving out of 10 do you give this episode?
Okay, Otto.
I was going to go with Starfleet insignia branded judo pants. But, Thanksgiving only comes once a year, so we'll go with the meatloaf.
That sounds like a Bond joke, or is that just Christmas? Frank.
Oh God. I'm trying to find redeeming reasons to give this a 2.4 slapped on the ass Thanksgiving turkey flavored meatloafs for the crew out of 10. And I don't know why I gave it that many. I like meatloaf.
Otto.
Is this 1 to 10 or 0 to 10?
0 to 10. Well, we've got minus for Code of Honor, so you can go as low as you like. Oh yeah, Stars gave it a
that feels like
-5.
cheating. Oh, you can't. There's no way that this was like 50% better than Code of Honor.
Well, I mean, it's your rating. Like, it's up to you. We just average it out between everyone.
All right. If this is 0 to 10, no, I don't like that. We're doing 1 to 10. This is 1 to 10. I'm gonna give this a 1.8.
1.8. Wow.
Turkey-shaped meatloafs, because there was some decent stuff with Shatner's acting. Charlie's actor did all right, and I actually liked the judo scene because it was hilarious with the exercising guy. Everything else, and the nylon face. Everything else I could leave. 1.8. I'm giving it 0.8 for all those scenes in totality.
So granular. Like, this is like, I thought, like, yeah, let's do a 1 to 10. You guys are doing a 1 out of 100 here. Like, I'm gonna give it a pure 1. I like.
Is it the worst episode of Star Trek to you?
What did I vote? Code of Honor. I also voted Code of Honor a 1. So it's on the same par.
And the Children Shall Lead come up.
0.5, I think, but we'll see. We'll see. That's awful. This is. I think the thing for me about this episode is it just didn't achieve what it tried to set out, and it did it in a really bad way. I think there wasn't. I think there was a good intention here that was just corrupted on every levels by some person kind of going, what if they did this? What if we had this teenage melodrama be the focus of the episode instead of the kids' powers? And that kind of messed it up a little bit.
We're going to have to go back some of these episodes and readjust the ratings. There's going to be outlier episodes like this that just change how you look at Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you sat me down and forced me to watch all these in a row, I could drop the 2 off of my 2.4 pretty easily.
We just watched Fight or Flight, and now that makes this look. That's like a 10 out of 10.
I'd pay $15 at a movie theater to watch that.
You'd buy the popcorn.
So yeah, when you have new fans Star Trek, they find a movie or whatever, and they inevitably ask on the forums or whatnot, where should I start with Star Trek? And someone's always like, oh,
Episode
go to the
3.
beginning. You got to watch it in order. I'm like, no, you don't, because this is what happens.
Never do that.
Just plop them right into like TNG season 5 or something. All right. And if they really love Star Trek, they'll get around to the rest of the stuff.
Yeah. Yesterday's Enterprise. If they can't watch that, they're lost. Or you tell them to watch all the worst episodes and go, it can only get better.
No.
And then you've lost them forever. Because that's how I watch everything. Anyway, thank you everyone for putting up with that episode of Star Trek.
Legitimately, thank you.
Yeah, no, seriously. It will generally only get better from there. From here, I think we've actually got over the hump of the worst episodes. We've watched Charlie X, we've watched Code of Honor, we've watched The Naked Now. I think there aren't that many worse episodes.
You'd be surprised.
You would be surprised. I'm going to be eating these words very soon. But no, thank you for watching. If you want to check out some more of our stuff, we have a fabulous new little website you can check out on your phone, on your tablet, on your home device. Go to www.trekti.me or trekti.me. Put that in there. That'll take you to a big list of where our Twitch channel is, where our YouTube channel is, where our Twitter is, where everything is, or come to our Discord, all that kind of thing. So please come check us out. Come check out other Trek Times videos that we have done. We have our charity show coming up. I appreciate if you're watching this in 2 years' time. You've already missed it. It was great. We raised lots of money. Hurrah. Don't know why I mentioned it. Anyway, no, thank you very much, and we will see you in a couple of weeks' time for our next episode, which is TAS's One of Our Planets is Missing. We will see you next time. Live long and prosper. Ta-ra.